Alright guys, you saw the title of the video, you gotta know where this is going. Let's start it off first. I saw a video, pastor preaching to his congregation about these subjects, and we're going to talk about it ourselves here because I think it's necessary. UFOs, do they exist in reality? Yes, they do. Every single object that is flying through the atmosphere in any way, shape, or form, until it is identified of exactly what it is, it's called a UFO, unidentified flying object. Now, when it's identified, I like to call them IFOs, identified flying object. Hence, remote, whip it, pew, somebody's head. It's unidentified until it stops and smacks him a good one, hits the ground. You threw a remote at me. You're a pain in the butt. Right? Okay, we get it. Now it's identified. We know what just went flying through the air. Therefore, UFOs exist in that sense. Okay? Aliens, do they exist? Not in the Christian circles. That's taboo subject, man, generally, because they're like, only we exist. We are the center of the universe. Bullpunky, okay, for one. Two, I don't think God created just us because, you know what? He did a quadrillion googolplex of galaxies and planets there within on every single galaxy. I'm pretty sure, and every solar system within every galaxy, and there are multiple solar systems in each galaxy. Therefore, there are millions, if not billions, of planets and other suns, etc. in each galaxy. Ours happens to be the Milky Way. That's our solar system. Okay, so in that, we say, did God create just us? And that's it in the entirety of the universe, which is, by the way, endless. There's no beginning or end. So, I think he probably did create other life because, well, the Bible kind of talks about things like, you know, the fallen angels, for example. Okay, they ain't from around here, that's for sure. And they took corporeal form and poof, they had sex with our women and created hybrid babies right in the book of Genesis. Slam dunk! Okay, not quite. We got more. They educated us. Aliens came from other worlds. They educated us. They made out to be messengers of God, or angels sent by God. They were in physical form, come to think of it. Another slam dunk. Okay, that's seen in the book of Ezekiel. Okay, fire chariot story. Yeah, remember that one? Similar stories are throughout other cultures around the world too, by the way, in other religions. And we also have the flood in common among other religions as well around the world. So the flood actually took place, undeniable. There you go. Anyhow, whether or not God actually did wipe out all life on earth or not, that's another question that we don't have an answer for. We just assume that the Bible says he did it, and that's over with. But hey, whatever, is what it is. Let's continue on, shall we? So, aliens. Yeah, Ezekiel and the fiery chariot. Now, these guys were around. They were teaching us, you know, things like irrigation, mathematics, science, all this other jazz. Teaching the people, right? We were kind of stupid back then, and, you know, kind of goes to see. Now, we've got a lot smarter over the years thanks to their intervention and help off and on throughout millennia, and that's fine. That's great and dandy. Now, the thing of the story of the Ezekiel and fiery chariot, which is a very commonly known story in the Bible, well, it's not so much of a story. It's a real deal, okay? And we believe it's a real deal because we kind of have to. It's the Bible, and if you believe in the Bible, you got to believe what's in there, so there you go. It happened. So the story goes that when they were ready to take off, they brought Ezekiel along with them, and he just kind of like walked right into that chariot, as they called it, because that's the only name they had for it. And he gets in there, and the guys, you know, the people that own it, they walk in there with him or roll in, whatever, and they close the doors, and they take off, and flames shoot out of this thing, and it fires off to the heavens. And they mentioned in the Bible more than once, too, about, you know, people that, or angels, entities, that came down from the heavens and did this and did that and helped people out and, you know, taught us stuff. This is a common occurrence, and this is just like normal everyday life. This is like a typical Tuesday at the office, right? So, but they weren't afraid because they were thought that, to believe that these were messengers from God, right? So, hey, even aliens can fake it till they make it, right? So, Ezekiel, he left alive. He left in a physical device that transported him, okay? Angels don't need that kind of stuff. Demons don't need that kind of equipment. God did not need a chariot or a spaceship, Okay, he just does what he does and like that, snaps his fingers. So obviously this is E.T., okay, as we like to nickname him. So, but Ezekiel, you'll remember too, was never seen or heard from again after that. That was it. Bye! See you on the next side. So we go out and we go through the next level, the Nephilim. Okay, we talk about the Nephilim till we're blue in the face. Either way you look at it, these guys were not bad dudes entirely. Okay, maybe some of them kind of were a little pissy, but others not so much. But there's talk about the Nephilim in the Bible. Well, these definitely aren't humans if they're Nephilim. They're from other world, right? Because we're the Nephilim today? Not here. Anyways, then you got the giants. Okay, David and Goliath. Goliath was probably about 8 feet tall. David was probably about 5 feet. That's a giant. Okay. And it's not uncommon. We have people in the world today that are 8, almost 9 feet tall too. So, what's the tallest person in the world right now? Something like 8 foot something, almost 9 feet tall. It's like, okay, I got it. You're a tall bugger. Gotcha. Anyway, so a lot of stuff doesn't make sense. When you start talking about science in the Bible, he brings in the fact that when Jesus died on the cross, he was dead. Okay, they buried his butt in a tomb. They rolled the stone in front, locking him in there because hey, he's dead. You just want to keep the vermin out of there. Well, he did say that they didn't actually have to have the stone rolled away because the body was already gone. Jesus was already gone, right? So, because he just travels through hyperspace windows, basically, right? And the entire planet is filled with hyperspace dimensions. So, for all we know, there's probably 20 or 30 people right behind me. We have no clue, but we can't see them. And because we can't see them, we say they don't exist. Okay, the guy did say, though, that ghosts and poltergeists definitely don't exist. And there he's right, because when you die, your spirit and your soul go to heaven. You ain't got no body either, by the way. Your body is in the dirt. Or you're ash because you got cremated. So that's going to be fun for the rapture. Because, some of you are fish food by now. Right? Anyways, we all know how the rapture is going to go. He explained the rapture, how that's going to take place, what's going to go down with that, blah, 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 blah. Anyhow, but he talks about Jesus using interdimensional travel via hyperspace. And this is where science comes in and confirms a lot of this hyperspace stuff. So the guy says the more you understand science, the more the Bible makes sense. And it's like, but God is God. He can do what he wants, how he wants, anytime he wants. He just has to think it, and he's there. So Jesus appeared before a couple people first, and they're all freaking out in excitement. Oh, you're back, you've returned, you're from the dead, and blah, blah, blah. And they saw Jesus for who he is, right? Whoa. Okay, and then all of a sudden Jesus vanishes like that, faster than you can blink an eye, right? Then he appears somewhere else and does the same thing, and then somewhere else, and somewhere else, and somewhere else. And this continues for a while. Okay, then he finally takes a hike and he never comes back, right? Okay, fine, because he did say, I'll be back eventually, And, but he did visit a number of different places instantaneously. So this pastor is trying to say that Jesus used hyperspace travel via different dimensions on Earth. So the Earth is full of all these dimensions, which means also entities live on Earth in different dimensions. They're not devils, they're not evil spirits, but some of them are good, some of them are bad. That's all he said. Okay, fine, whatever. Because I know for myself, a spirit can't do anything to you. I mean, an evil spirit can take possession of your body. Well, so can an angel if you want to do, I guess. But they can't harm you, okay? A demon and the devil himself are allowed to tempt you, but they cannot harm you, okay? I mean, even when Job's family got killed, the devil had to go to God's throne and get permission. Can I kill this guy? Like, seriously, I need to do something with him. Can you let me kill him? Like, and there's a whole faith thing. There's a whole story about it, right? No matter what the devil accomplished via whoever did the dirty deed for him, okay, the deed was done. And Job still held his faith, and he still rejoiced. It didn't matter. It was like, it's not that he didn't care about his family and stuff. It's he's serving God, right? I think it was Job. Anyways, you get the idea. You know the story a bit, hopefully. But that was an amazing test of faith. And the devil just couldn't figure it out. Like, why is this guy's faith not being shaken? I just took out his entire family and his animals and this and that. And it's like, it is what it is, right? So there are people with unshakable faith, obviously, throughout history. So you start hearing this pastor go on about all this stuff with Jesus and hyperspace and all this and bringing science into the mix, and it's like, okay, so maybe there is 20 or 30 people behind us, okay, but we can't see them. They're in another dimension, another reality. Now, God and hell, Satan, okay, they're outside of time and space because there is no time. Time doesn't exist where God is. And he pops in and out a lot here, but, you know, so is the devil apparently. But they are outside of time and space. So there is no time, which is why eternity is a word that is meaning an endless time. There is no time limit. And time moves differently for God than it does for us. 1 day for God is like 1,000 years for us. Okay, so it's kind of like, So it really took God 6,000 years in our time period to do it all. So that means we're definitely more than 6,000 years, because that was 6,000 years to the creation of everything, including humans, including the fall, including, you know, the hybrid, you know, stuff that, you know, these fallen angels apparently did, as they call them. Anyways, whatever. And this is kind of interesting. And we're still like a long way off from even Jesus being considered at this point of coming into the picture over a course of 6,000 years. So if any Christian says, well, we're only about 6,000 years old, tell them they're full of it, because the Bible is actually going to teach them differently. It's been a lot more than 6,000 years. So, and you can believe life on however level you want to. I mean, as a Christian, we have to believe a certain way of what things are. But on the other side of the fence, we do have free will, and we do get to decide how much of that we really take at heart of actual true value. And me, I'm sorry, but as much as I believe in God and Jesus and the Holy Trinity and all that jazz, I also believe in aliens from other planets, and I believe they helped us out for millennia, and they still do. Because there's no other way to explain even the technology that we've advanced in even my lifetime so far, and I'm only in my 50s. So do the freaking math, would you? Like, there is something fishy, right? And because even I know that a human being in themselves is just not quite that smart, you know, not without some sort of extra from somewhere, you know what I mean? Like, even all the accomplishments, now I'm not saying Elon Musk is an alien, so don't get me wrong on this, but all that he's accomplished that no one before him that is equally or greater in intelligence than him could figure out the stuff he's pulled off, there's something pretty interesting there, okay? And Einstein was a real crazy coot too, right? And then you've got Hawking's. Now, I'm not a real fan of Hawking's. I actually told him off a few times. Same as Michio Kaku. I got on his case, and it's like, you guys in your theoretical physics, I mean, you can't prove it. It's a theory. There's no fact, right? So why are you wasting your time unless you can find a way to test these things? You know, there's no sense saying this is a fact unless you can back it up. You know, it's like, we know that there are facts that support the life of Jesus, the existence of Jesus, what he did, what he accomplished, not just in the Bible and then in the four Gospels, which really gets in the nitty-gritty, but even throughout history books. And even the flood is throughout the world, in many areas in the world, right? So even religions that may not technically coexist that well with Christianity, they still have a lot of similarities of what had taken place in certain time periods, and the flood is definitely one of them, right? So, now there's stuff I don't get and I don't understand, like how is it that we have so many different races on this planet? Okay, like you've got people who have all different skin tone colors, different languages based upon their location as well with their skin color. How did all this happen from Noah and his family? Right? How did that happen even to begin with Adam and Eve? Right? Like, we don't know what, I mean, they couldn't have been, you know, multicolored people with 5,000 stripes of every color and creed that exists. I mean, you know, so obviously they were people. They had some tonal skin to them. They had a language. And at one time there was only one language until Babylon, I think, if I remember correctly, is what screwed all that up. So it is so much to digest and take in. It's just unfathomable. It's like so much we don't get. And we'll never figure it out, right? Kind of like the pyramids and all that stuff, right? There's so much we cannot figure out. Let me just check my time. 16 minutes. Hey, we're doing pretty good this time. It's only taken me 12 hours. We are in the 12th hour. Oh my goodness, my brain hurts so bad. Anyway, so you can combine science with the Bible. Yes, there is a lot of correlations that will definitely kind of line up and agree. And science is starting to believe more in God now instead of the Big Bang Theory. But then you can take the Big Bang Theory too and use that as, hey, you know what? God took something that was nothing. It was a big void. And he just went smack and said, you exist. Okay? Now, Big Bang, they say dates back billions of years. Possibility? Who the heck knows, really, to be honest. We only know what we have in a book or in books. That's all we have is book knowledge. Ideas, scenarios, truths, and facts, obviously. Okay? But we don't know the whole story, okay? But science went from firm and steady, this is how it is, this is the science, it is solid, foundational, to we're starting to believe there's a God. And when you look outside, you can't say that that's the Big Bang, because nothing can create anything, okay? It takes a recipe to make something, okay? Took a recipe of stuff to make this. It's a creation, okay? We are its creator. Now, God is our creator, okay? God created our planet. Let's just stop at the planet because that's less confusion. But how would nothing know that we needed more nitrogen and less oxygen for us to breathe? How did it know to create us? Why did it need to create us, right? You could say the same thing about God. Why did he need to create us? I don't know. Maybe he just wanted a project. I have no idea. But either way, he did what he did. But if you believe the Big Bang says a whole different story. And it's nothing creating itself. And it can't. It has no motivation, no necessity to create when it spent so long being nothing but a void, an empty void. And now it's an entire endless universe with no beginning or end. And it's got a quadrillion galaxies and planets and so on and everything else. And, you know, it put life on those planets too, because even a flower is life, by the way. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a living being that's intelligent like you and me. It definitely would be that there are living beings that are way more intelligent and less intelligent on some planets. But we have our intellectual level and we think that we're the geniuses of the universe, and we're not. Okay, and we need to really suck it up and deal with it, right? We're not quite as smart as what we might think we are, okay? There are smarter out there. But nothing is nothing, and you can't create all that we know of from absolutely nothing. Something designed it, something had to, or it would be total chaos, right? Every time a planet goes supernova and explodes, it creates space in space. So it has to realign. Everything must realign or there's chaos, right? So everything moves and shifts to realign everything, which gives you the appearance, by the way, of the expanding universe, which is not expanding. But we'll get to that another day. Anyways, I think I have a video on that already, by the way. So, what we've learned from this in total: UFOs are real. Aliens, in my opinion, are real. I don't care what Christians say, okay, or any religion says. Aliens are real. They're people from other planets. we discovered that apparently there are multi-dimensions even on our own Earth, and gateways and hyperspace windows and all this other jazz. That's interesting. Okay, we have learned that we definitely know that ghosts and poltergeists are BS because, when you die, that's it. Heaven or hell, that's all that awaits you. There is no in between. So therefore, these entities that we interact with that want to kick our butts, because some of them are nasties, well, those are just energy-based beings, okay, or interdimensional beings. They can show themselves in physical form if they so choose. Otherwise, they tend to stay invisible. This way, they can punch your lights out and you can't hit them back because you can't see. You can't hit what you can't see. So anyway, we got that figured out. We got the whole Jesus thing figured out. Probably not, because I'm not buying the whole interdimensional travel through hyperspace and all that within the planet for Jesus to do that. I just figured God is God and that's all there is. Nephilim, okay, fine, they experimented. Hybrid stuff started right in the book of Genesis, mixing with DNA. It's like, okay, so we're all hybrids, okay? Let's just forget it and accept it. We're all hybrids. Anyways, so then, of course, you got science in the Bible. They're starting to finally get along. Science is starting to believe, yep, there's got to be a God, because you can't create something from nothing. And besides which, we got butterflies. We got mosquitoes. We hate those things. Horseflies, deer flies, bumblebees, wasps. I mean, we got the whole enchilada and then some up here in good old planet Earth. How would nothing know it needed this? How did it know we needed this? So obviously there's an intelligent creator that said, hey, guess what? This is what you need for survival on planet Earth, and this is the stuff I'm going to put on here to also keep you in line in some areas too, because these are some scary mother creatures, okay, and they will eat your butt. So be careful. Leave them alone, okay? And if you come across one, run, all right? So that's what we know, and there's still so much we don't. And it's an interesting ride either way. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Got a lot out of it, I hope. I know I certainly got 12 hours and a bad headache out of the deal, but at least I got her done for you. See ya.